Jisoo, I'm glad you're in here today. How do you like to use this time today in this session?
I just kind of want to talk about some things at work and maybe some things at home too that have been going on.
Okay. What would be the most pressing for you? What do you want to talk about that first?
We can get into my work stuff first. I've been having a lot of anxiety. I had a panic attack a couple of times, but nothing recently, but I still feel like the anxiety is very, very high up there. With just like my workload and the projects and expectations at work, it's just kind of a lot to handle myself.
Okay, you said you had a panic attack like a few weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're still continuing to have this anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
but no panic attack since then?
Not since then.
Okay, that sounds a little bit stressful. Can you tell me more about what was going on that could cause the anxiety?
So I'm in a pretty high role at my job, and it is a very demanding job. I mean, I'm required to submit different projects like constantly, and they're pretty intense. And it's just me by myself. Like I don't have like a team that I'm working with. Like it's pretty much individual work. So I feel like the pressure is all on me to do it. And I love my job. Like I like doing what I do. It's just very overwhelming. I feel like maybe if I had like a teammate to work with to share the load, it wouldn't be as intense feeling, but right now it's just me.
Okay, so it sounds like you're by yourself and you have a lot of work, and that it would be maybe useful for you to have someone, or it would take away that burden to have someone else join you on your team. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What do you have anyone that you can rely on, or that you can maybe talk to about these stressors?
I'm very scared to bring it up to my boss because I don't want them to pull me out of the role or think that I'm not like able to do it. Like I want to do it. Like this is where I want to be. I'm just struggling right now. So I really don't feel like there's anyone I can talk to about my issues at work.
Okay. So it's kind of stressful to think about talking to your boss about these things because you want to seem like you have it together, you know what you're doing. Would it be okay if I asked you, if your boss was here, what would you want to say to him?
If I could talk to my boss and know that my job is secure and that no matter what our conversation was about, that my job would still be safe, I would just try to explain like why I'm feeling this way, not because I'm incompetent or can't do my job, but just because like maybe he doesn't understand how much of a workload this is. So I would probably just say like, hey, like I'm struggling, like, is there any way we can pull someone else to join me, like to work together to get these things done, like, and just kind of see like what his thoughts are. Like maybe he'll be okay with it, or maybe he'll find another solution without having to pull me out of the role entirely.
Okay, so it seems like you value your position at work is what I'm getting, and you want to seem competent. What does competent look like to you?
For me, it just looks like being able to do everything and then maybe a little bit more. I've always been kind of an overachiever, so if I'm not doing more than expected, I feel like I'm drowning. And right now, I'm barely getting things done, so for me, it feels like I'm drowning.
Okay, so you told me that you like to do more than expected, right? But if you take on too much, it could be a little bit drowning, you said. So what is this in between then? What would be an ideal workload for you?
I think, honestly, just having someone to share it with, and it might just be like maybe just kind of emotional for me just to have someone to relate to, because this is like a single kind of position, so it's not like I have a bunch of people that I can talk to about the project, because this is my job. Like I was hired to do this job for myself. But I feel like even just having somebody that knows what I'm going through on the day-to-day, it would be a lot easier to like get through.
Okay, so it seems you have a sense of responsibility. That's admirable. But you said you also want to have someone who you can kind of rely on if you need help, right? What does that feel like for you to have someone that you can rely on if the workload is a little too much?
It would make me feel a lot more secure mentally, I guess. Just knowing that, oh, this person, like I work with this person, like we do the same thing, like they know what we're doing, like we can kind of like bounce off of each other. Like if I'm having a really bad day and it's a lot for me, that I can, have them step in and help me a little bit, or vice versa. Like if I'm having a really good day, just have someone to kind of balance. Like at work, I feel like I have nobody at work.
Okay. And when you say you have nobody at work, what type of feelings come up for you?
I just feel isolated. I feel stuck and I feel isolated and I just feel ultimately defeated. And when I first got this job, I was so ecstatic and I loved it. And now it's kind of like feeling like I'm losing myself through the job, but I also don't want to lose the job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so you're kind of in a position where like, I don't want to lose myself in it, but I also enjoy it. But you're having a difficult time going back to that enjoyment. Is that correct? Okay. So what were some things that you enjoyed in the beginning?
I think I just enjoyed knowing the fact that I made it there. I think like the feeling of knowing that all my hard work paid off, like I got my dream job, like I'm doing something that's really, really big and I did it for myself. That felt good. But now reality is kind of setting in and I'm realizing how difficult the job is. It's kind of discouraging me.
Okay. Alright. It's a very normal feeling to think, having an achievement that was gave you the validation that you did a good job, but also, that kind of reality hitting in at the end. So, what would, if you could say some goals to going back to that, happy, feeling that you had in the beginning, what would those goals look like if you could name maybe 2 or 3?
I don't know. I would say maybe trying to find ways to deal with the stress. Maybe getting the courage to speak to a boss and maybe see if there's anything that they can do to help me. It's just finding the courage to do that because I just can't right now. I would say those would be my 2, because just finding ways to manage the stress and then speaking up for myself and asking for help.
And I know you said you can't right now. What do you mean by that?
I think I'm just not ready to take that step yet. I know that I want to and I know it could probably help me, but I think it's the fear that's kind of making me not do that.
Okay. And could you tell me a little bit about this fear? What causes it?
I think just I'm terrified that they might think I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough for the position.
Okay. And have you, or let's say, imagine yourself going into that position of telling your boss, what sort of things would you be telling yourself as you get ready to talk to your boss?
I would just try to remind myself how hard I worked to get here, and if this job can't value me and what I offer to the job, then maybe they don't deserve to have me, and just try to really get myself to accept that if they want to pull me out of the position rather than help me, then maybe this isn't for me.
Okay. You mentioned acceptance. What would that look like?
Acceptance for me is just, if I'm coming and expressing to you these things that I'm struggling with, accepting that I feel like that rather than punishing me. I want to feel like I'm safe to talk about things that are affecting me rather than feeling like they're just going to punish me for feeling like that.
Okay. And we do want you to get to that space where you are safe. So I do want to kind of assign you a little bit of homework. So think about what we mentioned in this session thinking what those thoughts of how would I feel going into the office or going into talking to my boss, and you said some really good things like I want to feel accepted, but these are the conditions, and then eventually figuring out, okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. So yeah, I'll encourage you to think about that a little bit more, and well, I'll see you in the next session.
Okay, yes,